This is going to be showing you how to solo farm the weekly strike loot, which this week it is SHADOWPRICE. So those who don't know, we have Swarm, Palindrome and SHADOWPRICE. SHADOWPRICE is the auto rifle that's up this week, so showing you how to solo farm that. On this particular run I ended up getting 2 auto rifles in one run and 3 exotic engrams because the double loot buff was on. Well, it is this week, so you get double rewards. So as I said, we're doing it on a Titan. It's aimed for Titan mains. Now you do need to get platinum rank, so I'll be killing all the champions that you need to. This is the S.A.B.E.R strike, which was from Destiny 1, now put into Destiny 2. The first week it is the Ordeal Nightfall. It's easier to farm on Legend than it is Master. Therefore I'm doing a video aimed at this auto rifle for Legend. And as I said, I ended up getting 3 exotic engrams and 2 autos anyways. So you're getting enough drops on Legend as it is when you're solo farming it. So with the first instance, you have the Warmind capture point to take. This is the same as what it was in Destiny 1. Now I'm hiding here till 25%. If you just don't move, crouch at this location, none of the ads will push you. The ads are controlled by the amount of percent you take off the zone. So around about roughly 25% you'll get various spawns of dregs, marauders, etc. What we're going to do here is when we get to 25% we'll get off the capture point. We use our Truthteller, as you saw I was using, with blinding nades, and then Synthoceps, the exotic Gauntlets, which allows us to one-shot most ads even in a Nightfall. So the overall idea is that you get a stun with your Truthteller or whatever blinding nade launcher you're using. Erwin's Maul has it as well. The new grenade launcher weekly ritual one, or the seasonal ritual one, sorry, does not have blinding. It has spike, has vorpal, no blinding, so that wouldn't work the same as this. So same again, we're just keeping stunning them with our Truthteller. As you saw there, I stunned the turret ships. So while I'm doing this, I'm stunning the turret ships and all the ads at the same time. Sometimes when there's no ads alive, I'll just directly hit the turrets. And that means the turrets will go back in the ship, which is something I didn't know you could blind the turrets until this Nightfall came out. I'd never tried doing that. I don't think it'll be a new thing, but it's good to know. You can actually destroy the turrets on the ship. That takes a bit of time. Now the thing is about this, the major change from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 is that there used to be a timer, and if you didn't collect the capture point within the certain time, then you would wipe. That's a major change. They don't do that now, which is fair enough because there's now champions and there wasn't champions in that edition on Destiny 1. So I would say overall it's a good change, because you were forced to stand in that. It was probably harder. The Destiny 1 variant was probably harder with arc burn, exposure. The Destiny 1 version is definitely harder than this. However, we've still got Grandmaster to come out yet, which will be definitely harder than the Destiny 1 variant. As I said, the ads are dictated by the capture point zone, so we're not going to capture too much when we don't want to. When you get to halfway, 2 ships on the other side, you'll have initial spawns, we take those, then we get back to the capture point, and then we get a champion. You want to be making sure you're fullish on health when charging the champion. Obviously we're using Lament to take down the shield, that's anti-barrier built within it. Then we can just one-shot any ads surrounding. You need, I think it's 3 ads surrounding you, and then you get the biotic enhancement, which increases melee lunge range, melee damage and super damage by quite a lot. This exotic is probably the most useful for just giving you a good buff for all 3 classes. It's not specific to Thunder Crash, it's not specific to Sunbreaker. But this is the best neutral exotic that the Titan has. Maybe Crest of Avalur as well. There's actually not too bad exotics. There's better exotics than people think for the Titan. So when we dealt with all the ads, The 2 ships will leave, like so. You just start, and then the next wave will start in front of you. But you want to take out the adds behind you because you don't want to be dealing with adds in front of you while adds are shooting behind you. Solar damage is on, so as far as resistance, which I haven't spoke about at all, this is what I would recommend. Put a solar damage resistance mod on with a concussive dampener. Concussive dampener will help out with general area of effect damage, and the solar damage resistance will combat the mod that's on where solar damage and environmental damage incoming is increased. So you've just negated that mod to some extent, and you've got the concussive on because you're playing aggressive on the Titan melee and stuff. So you need to. There's something very important about this 100k. If you capture the zone while adds are still alive, adds will despawn and you will not get score for them. It's very important you kill everything here. You don't want to be skipping. If you did capture the zone and the adds despawned, on master, you're good to go, you're fine. That's probably what you want to do. I would probably pop a bubble, then deal with the champions, because the champions don't despawn when the capture point is collected, which I tested off, not on this video. Yeah, this is the video where it's a good run. Previous runs I'd tested seeing what despawns and what doesn't. Champions don't, so technically you could leave the anti-barrier up, which wouldn't recommend, but definitely overloads, and they'll just stay there. And it's good that, because you can still get platinum rank without being forced to take the champions before, you know. So that's another good thing that I didn't know whether Bungie would actually playtest. So they've actually playtested this Nightfall by looks. So that's very good. Now on to the next part. So this section is a lot of snipers and a lot of marauders. The marauders are deadly, and so the snipers. One snipe can get me pretty weak, and I am above power. But just bear in mind, after 1300 power, you don't get much benefit after that. So if you're 1300 power, what I'm demonstrating in this video, you'll be able to do as well. So we're going to take out the snipers first from this doorway, which this door opens and closes. If you didn't play it in Destiny 1, you can back up so far and the door will shut. If you're weak, you can back right up. We're going to get blinds when we can as well. We're not so much using Truthteller for damage, it's more the blind and nade utility of it, to then use the exotic gauntlets, you know, to get the kill, etc., or even our bow if we want. The bow has explosive payload on it. Now explosive payload on a bow is very good. Frenzy will be also very good on a bow, but explosive payload is very useful. So if you ever have any bow with explosive payload, keep it until you get a good roll. If you end up getting a better roll than that one, then delete the other one, vice versa. Always keep certain rolls. Because if you look on something like I think it's Destiny Tracker or the websites, they'll tell you what the king perks are, and explosive payload's not classed as a king perk. So people who are new to the game will think, oh, explosive payload's bad. They don't consider the usefulness of explosive payload on end game activities. Additional staggered adds, additional flat buff to your primary without having to get a kill. All this stuff with it. Better on champions, overloads. You can actually clear an overload with a bow alone. Doesn't need to have explosive, but it makes it more consistent. Now when you take out the champion, there'll be an additional champion spawn behind you with the 4 snipers. Take the 4 snipers first, then you take the overload. You don't want to try, I mean, you could do it the other way because you've got healing from Lament, but you're best off taking the champion. I don't know what was going on with my charging there with Lament, but sometimes it was seeming just to swipe once. I don't know what was going on with it. Also the hit detection on it's kind of weird at the boss, which I'll go into when we get there. When we break the fuse, there'll be 4 exploder shanks spawn behind you. Use a wall and take out the exploder shanks first. Then the marauders will push you, get a blind. You can use a nade or just keep hitting them with Truthteller, whatever you wish. But be aware that there's 2 snipers at the back of the map. If they both double snipe you while you're weak, then that can be a wipe. So we just dealt with the most threatening thing to the least threatening thing. The most threatening thing was the Exploder Shanks, dealt with that. Marauders, we blinded them, they're dealt with. Then you can start doing damage to the snipers, and then we've just done something methodically, making it easy. Everything's making it easier than what it, making it easier. We're not trying to make it harder. Yeah? This is a run for people that can try and do it. It's not for me to demonstrate how good I am or something, because this doesn't, I wouldn't sort of post it for that anyways. If I was going to post a video like that, it would be something else, which sometimes I do, but that's for myself, my own progression. People don't understand that bit where I've just said. Sometimes people think you're just posting something just to say I can do this but you can't. They've totally missed the point. The answer is no, I'm doing this to get better and keep up my skill in the game for myself, because I maybe get bad at the game. That's the real answer. It's nothing to do with anything else, or anyone else should I say. So with that part there, you can skate with the orb by hitting your head on the wall. Just keep jumping, rapidly press the jump button. You'll skate all the way down to the opposite end of the map. You can then safely deposit the orb, do a barricade just in case there's any exploders, and then wait for adds to despawn. You don't need the extra score because we optimised the extra score on the capture point at the start. So we're on track for score. You don't need to farm. There is parts where you can actually farm infinite adds. There's infinite adds at the boss. There's infinite adds where I just was. There's actually a couple of parts where if you do want the extra score, you can, but on Legend it's never worth it on Legend because the score's so low. So right now we're cutting to the back of the map because we're going to get a stun on the champ. This is quite safe to do because Lament's healing us. When we've done with that, we're just going to get as many melee kills as we can because that's the best thing to do. You're getting health back, even though the lot's hitting you. You're getting, you know, you're one-shotting all the adds as well. It's pretty safe. After so long, when most of the adds are down, you will get an anti-barrier. It goes off a percentage of how many adds are still alive. What I would say is try to be prepared, because if you do what I'm going to do here, it makes everything so much easier. You can spawn kill the anti-barrier. Now what happened there is my Lament hit detection didn't work. It went right over the anti-barrier, which is something that happens. But we popped the super immediately and we have the biotic enhancements and we can kill a champ. We can actually kill a champ without no anti-barrier. The super, the Sentinel top tree, will actually clear if your timing's right. If you do the 2 light swings in a barge twice, that'll actually stagger a champ and kill him. The timing's got to be exactly right though for that. But that's that room easily dealt with. This room here can be tricky because the anti-barrier shields a lot of the adds. Yeah, that's just what the anti-barrier is going to do. Now there's snipers at the top where the anti-barrier is. It's more than likely going to shield. One thing I didn't say is you can actually disorient adds while they're tethered. This is something else I didn't know and something you learn every day. You can actually do that. So if I'm facing anti-barrier, I could blind. I could hit the anti-barrier champion, which will hit all the rest of the adds with the blinding nade. It won't do anything, but it will blind all the rest of the adds, meaning that I can safely go with Lament to take out the champion, rather than just going in there and then saying, "Oh, I might die." If you die on a legend run, you've lost your 100k. So this is actually part for 100k as well. You don't need to get the 100k to farm the auto rifle, but I just thought I'd do the two together. So what's happened here is, because I've took out one of the overloads, interestingly enough, the anti-barrier will then want to shield the other overload. That's the AI. If you were to just take the anti-barrier first, then it's going to stay at top. But I done it differently this time, which is probably easier this way, because then you can take the snipers and stuff. So it's probably a good idea if you can get one of the overloads, which it's easy done to get a stun, then do so. This sniper was pushing me hard, but Lament saved us. And passive guard, which is the artifact mod, so you get a massive buff to damage resistance while your sword is readied. It doesn't have to be used, just as long as you've equipped and you've got it out. So you're running with a sword, for example. So make sure your ammo's pretty good, because you need quite a bit of Truthteller, because there's some more shields. And the only things that we have really is our grenade to take down void shields. And we don't really want to be using super on just some void servitors. So make sure you're managing your ammo properly. You get 2 servitors which spawn shanks. I think the shanks just keep spawning if you don't kill the servitor. That looks to be the case. And then on the very first phase of damage, we're just going to do some Lament damage. It's pretty safe to do so. We'll do our charge. We actually do a bubble here on the first phase. Reason being is because we don't need our super until the very end of the fight. So we may as well use a bubble here to save on ammo, because we're going to get that 35% damage buff from weapons of light. Then when we're done with that, the safest thing is just to melee all the shanks. Be careful of middle, because the middle platform, as you saw, opens up. It opens up as a hole, and you can fall down there. That's a wipe as well. So if you do damage like I did, where you're directly in the middle, just bear in mind when that boss is immune, you need to jump out of the way. This is the next best location that you can do. You don't always have to sword the boss for every phase. As you can see, the boss is time gated, immune gated. So it looks like 4 phases, but you can actually kill him in 3 phases. Because the third and fourth phase gel into one. There's no immune gate. It's just that there's a transition in the boss fight, and he acts differently between the third and the fourth. Technically there's 3, but we end up sort of doing it in 4. Which I'll explain why when we get to that bit. Now with Lament on the boss, because the boss is a floating target, Lament's targeting is weird. One way of making it consistent is actually do a short hop, then do your Lament attacks. I didn't do it here, but I did try it on a previous run, and that was helping out a little bit better. I mean, the Lament didn't do so bad there. I didn't really miss so much. But if it is proven difficult to do damage, just do a short hop, because the hit detection on Lament in air is better than what it is on ground. Because that's the problem with it, is when you're on the ground, it sometimes does like a aerial move rather than the ground version. That's what I think that's going on with it, but I'm not 100%. This location, as you can see, is really good. I can even do a wall here. This little bit of cover here isn't here at the end of the boss fight. Also the arc shields in front of us, if you go anywhere near them, they wreck you because environmental damage is increased, and they're classed as arc and environmental. The environmental part of it does a lot of damage to you, so you've got to be careful. Once you take down both void shielded servitors, boss will come in the middle. This is the third phase. As you can see, awkward to sword, but the thing is, the sword's so valuable in the whole runs, it's still worth to run it. Very important to not take the boss to to the very last quarter. Reason for that is, if you don't have a bubble, you're going to struggle to survive the final phase. Now I did end up enraging the boss there earlier than what I wanted, but I found out that it's not too bad. But snipers do spawn in, and they're on sort of a, I think they're on an infinite wave. We're going to do a bubble here. So the best way is just wait, take out a lot of the exploder shanks, then you can do your bubble. Reason for that is because if 4 or 5 exploder shanks explode on you in your bubble, it can wipe you because of the solar damage incoming is increased. Passive guard will help out to an extent, but don't count on it for everything with it. But that was the run. As you can see, the loot pretty decent for what it was. That was the run. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.